In today's tutorial we're going to be making this purse, and this is a felted purse just like so. The dimensions of the finishing are 10 inches, but if you want to follow this pattern and decide not to want to felt, the actual finish size will be 13 inches, all the way where my thumb is, way over here. Okay, and the dimensions for if you decide not to felt, the dimensions after felting will be about 7 inches, and then before felting is about 8. That's how much shrinkage is going on in this. So whether you're comfortable with felting or not, either way this is still a great pattern. The pattern is available on my website, and there's a link in the more information of this video in order to access it. To be able to felt, if you decide to felt, you need 100% wool. Okay, so this is Peyton's Classic Wool. It is confirmed to be 100% pure new wool. So if you don't want any shrinkage or any problems with that, use acrylic, and you could use the Bernat Super Value. Also, if you decide that you don't like the color schemes, these are just a suggestion. On my website in the pattern I actually tell you how many rows there are of each, but if you want to substitute for any one of these, it'd be actually, you know, it's creative choice. You can do whatever you want. Just know that when you're doing this kind of thing, this is actually just one line of yellow, just like you see. This is probably 2, that's 3, that's 4. So when you're actually doing it before felting, it actually looks like it's very significant, but when it felts it just comes together being very cool like that. So I'm going to make a new one, and this new one is going to be much a different color, and let's get started with this new tutorial with the felted purse. To help explain myself before we start this tutorial is that the bottom of the bag is actually round just like so, and there's actually pivot points to how the circle will grow when it's on the bottom, and I refer to that as being called ratios. Okay, so every time you rotate, you need to put more stitches in order to compensate, because it's like a spider web and it's getting further and further apart. So in the very start that we have, as I say, it's a 1:2 ratio. That means that there's 1 single crochet, and then the next one is going to get 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Okay, the next one will be 2 single crochets in a row, and then the next one is going to be 2 single crochets into the same hole. 3 single crochets in a row, and there will be, in the next one there will be 2. Okay, so I always say this is like a ratio, and with this particular one we go all the way to 15, so you'll end up with 15 single crochets in a row, and then 2, and then we start building up. If you want your bag to be much bigger, then you could just continue along with that, so then you can go 16 to 2, 17, 18, 19, 20, and carry on with like that. So let's get started on the beginning of this tutorial. To begin this tutorial, I'm going to be using a bamboo hook today. It is a size 6mm, and this is a size J. Okay, so we're going to be using that. We're going to be obviously using the Peyton's Classic Wool in order to do it, because I do want to felt this in the end. But again, don't be afraid to substitute it for acrylic yarn if you wish. So let's begin with the slip knot, and what I need you to do is that I need you to chain 2. So 1 and 2. Then what we have to do is then go 11 single crochets right into the start of this chain. So single crochet, so just pop your hook into the beginning chain and just single crochet as normal. So that was 1, and we have to do that 11 times. 2, 3. So you'll be noticing the straggler there. I want to make sure that stays on top, so it traps it into position. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, and we can do that. And now I just need you to slip stitch with this particular one as we go. With this tutorial, we're also going to need an actual a stitch marker, and the marker is just going to go into position so we know when we've rotated all the way around. With this particular pattern, what we're going to be doing is we're no longer going to be doing any kind of slip stitching, where you end up with a line that's pretty godly, so we're going to not do that going into the future. So let's move on to your next step. This will be moving on to row number 2 when you're looking at the instructions that I provided. In row number 2 it says to chain 1, so let's chain 1, and the next one is going to get 1 single crochet. Okay, so this is a 1:2 ratio. The next one will get 2 single crochets into the same hole. 1 and 2. Okay, and the next one is going to get 1. The next one is going to get 2. So hopefully you understand the ratios. I think I confuse a lot of people with that. It's just my own way of thinking about it, and it makes sense in my own brain. Okay, the next one is going to get 2. And 2. And then the next one is going to get 1. And the next one is going to get 2. Okay, the next one is going to get 1. And it doesn't really matter where you end up with around the end like it does with the beanie. The last one is going to get 2. Okay, and so what I want you to do is that I don't want to be slip stitching at all, so I'm just going to leave my marker there where I just finished, and we'll move on to your next level. So we're just going to continue to work in a continuous spiral as we work our way around. So we're going to begin a 2-to-2 ratio. So the first 2 single crochets, the first 2 stitches will have 1 single crochet each. Okay, so that's the first part of the ratio, that's 2. Okay, and then the next one is going to get 2. Okay, so 1 and 2. Okay, so the next 2 single crochets are going to go in, so 1, and then we go to the next stitch for 2, and then the next one after that is going to get 2 inside. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to put 1 single crochet into the next 2, which is the 2 part of the ratio, and the next one is going to get 2. And continue that all the way around. We'll meet back up where we'll move along. As we move along, we're now at the end, and I actually finished with a single crochet, so I didn't finish on a double like I would have the beanie because we're not slip stitching. But every time we want to pass this stitch marker, we want to make sure we move it up the level so that we understand where the stop and start is. So moving on to level number, what do we got here? We got level number 4, okay, and we're going to be doing a 3-to-2 ratio. So we're going to put 1 single crochet into the next, and the next, and the next, so for 3 in a row, and then the 4th one is going to get the 2. Okay, so we have 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then we put in 2. And this allows the circle to grow consistently. Sorry. So 1, 2, and 3. So there's your 3, and then the next one will get 2. And continue that all the way around. We'll meet back up. We'll continue along. Okay, so we're going to remove out the stitch marker again and put in. So we're going to do now a 4-to-2 ratio. So that was considered 1. So let's move that, put it back that in. So that was 1, 2, 3, and so there's 4 single crochets in a row, and then the next one is going to get 2. 1 and 2. Okay, so this is a 4-to-2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the next one gets 2, and continue that all the way around, and we'll meet back up again. Okay, so now we're going to move up again, and I don't need to go and do this all 15 times with you, but I'm going to do now the 5-to-2 ratio. Okay, so this is 1. I'm going to put the slip stitch back in. Okay, and then we're going to do 5. So that was considered 1 already. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then the next one will get 2. So 1 and 2. So I don't think I need to continue to do that with you. I want you to do this, if you're looking at the instructions, do this until you get to the ratio of 15-to-2 and finish 15-to-2, where we'll bring it back up together and we'll get to that. It'll be a little bit before you'll meet me back at that point, but I have to do that off camera as well to be caught up to you as well. So we'll meet back up where you'll have 15-to-2 done and continue to. What you're seeing here is another project that I'm working on, and I'm making my bag much bigger as I want it to be a bigger handbag. So I've gone to a 25-to-2 ratio, and now I'm going to grow it up on the sides in order to make this even more larger. Now, just like the hats that we did the other day, is that when you stop growing the hat, so say for example this is where we're growing it, and then we stop, the hat still grows even though we're not adding any more stitches. So let's turn this upside down. So this is where we are, Okay, so even though I'm no longer growing the hat or this bag, it's still going to grow bigger and bigger for the next few revolutions. What I found with that is that when you had this color here, this is where I changed colors off when I originally did the bag, and I find because it grows up like this color kind of disappears underneath the bag. And it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, it all depends on you. So what I'm going to do for this is that I'm going to continue to maintain the same color for a little bit longer as it catches up to the growing, and then it will eventually start going up like a cylinder all the way up. So you can refer to the more information of this video in order for more clarification on the pattern that you will see when it comes to doing this pattern and other patterns available. Looking more carefully at this bag, by the time you have just stopped growing the material at the base of this bag and then started working away, you will have gone from 59 rounds all the way up. It's hard to believe that there's 59 rows in between here, but if you look at the before picture of this bag, you will see that it's much bigger, that the actual length shrunk by 3 inches. So you're going to put it through the felting process once you're done, and I actually had to felt this twice. I had a front loader washer and I had to felt that twice, and you just use 2 tablespoons of baking soda, use hot water in the washing machine with the cold water rinse, and an old pair of jeans, and make sure that it is an old pair so that you don't have any kind of running issues and you don't wreck any pairs of jeans. So now we want to concentrate on making the handle. The handle is actually just one piece of material, okay, and this has actually been done through the embellish knit just like so, and we've used that in a tutorial before. And what I've done is I actually created a few of these strands, and it only takes maybe about 5 minutes to create a strand, maybe not even that much time, and the strands I created were about 5 feet long. Okay, and so I just created random colors because I really wasn't sure at the end what colors I would do, and then I also felted these at the same time, so you could do everything at one time, do the whole felting process at the one time, and just throw it in the washing machine. So here I have the embellish knit, and we've used this before in other tutorials, and this is like a spool knitting machine, so I just have to crank the handle in order for it to knit. This is not working too well, the material that's on there right now, but the wool that we find, the 100% classic wool by Peyton's, actually works really well, and so I just did a number of these strands, and I also made those at the same time as this bag, so that when I felted, I just threw this in the washing machine as well. It does have kind of some weird bends on it, and that's the reason I had it all braided up when I threw it in the washing machine, because I was planning on braiding it when it went onto the bag, but then I changed my mind afterward. So I would recommend next time I was to do this is not braid anything, just throw it in the washing machine as is, and then braid it afterwards. So that's a kind of an inside tip. What you're seeing here is just one string or one piece of material, and basically it comes down, okay, through the bag, okay, and then back out and then tied. Okay, so this one side of the string, and then it comes along down through the bag, back over, and then tying it shut. So how did I get these particular holes inside? Basically I just got a size 10 millimeter knitting needle just like so, and I just rammed it through a section of it. So what I did is I actually folded it just down like this. So let's move these out of the way. I actually folded it like this, and I began to push through the knitting needle so that I actually had all the pieces. So I did one, and you have to be very careful with this because this is actual felted. It's very, very tight, so you just take your time pushing it through, then you get the next piece and the next piece and the next piece, and that's how I did that. I didn't really want to cut the felt, I didn't trust it, so what I just did is by just ramming this through, it actually just separates the felt out instead of actually having to cut anything, and that's how I was able to do this quick little bag. So this took about 6 hours to crochet in total. Some people online right now are complaining about the cost of the wool versus other materials. For the amount of yarn that I used in here, there's 6 different colors. It was about $60, but I can get 3.5 bags out of that particular whole lot of yarn. So I'm thinking to myself, that's not a bad deal if you're looking for a Christmas present, because this works out to be under $20 when you look at the costs associated to making a bag just like so. So until next time, it's Mikey on behalf of AllFreeCrochet.com.